Hello everyone. Today's joke of the day is, where do football players go when they need a new uniform? Stay tuned to find out. Our learning target for today is I can rewrite an equation from point slope to standard form. So let's remember what standard form is. Standard form is ax plus by equals c, where a is a positive integer and b and c are just other integers. Okay, so our steps to rewrite an equation from point slope to standard form. Well, the first step that we need to do is similar from when we are writing from point slope to slope intercept form, is that we want to distribute the slope. Okay, we want to distribute the slope into the parentheses. Then we want to move the x term, okay, so that ax, the term with the x, to the y side. Okay, we want to move it to the side that has the y on it. Thirdly, we want to move all the constants to the same side. Oh, that's not how I spell constants. All the constants to the same side. And finally, we want to multiply to make a positive integer. Okay, and I'll show you an example of how we will do that. Right? So let's rewrite these equations in standard form by following our steps. Okay, step number 1 is that we want to distribute the slope. Okay, so we're going to multiply -5 through the parentheses. So y minus 7 will stay on the left-hand side. We'll get -5 times x is -5x. -5 times a positive 3 gives us -15. Okay, that is step number 1. Then step number 2, you might want to write these in different colors just like I am, or label your steps. Move the x term to the y side. Okay, so we have to move this term here, this -5x, over to the other side of our equation. And we're going to do that by doing inverse operations. So to get rid of a -5x on this side, we are going to add 5x. And then we also want to add 5x to this side to balance out our equation. Okay, so our second step ends in, we have y, actually we'll put the x term out in front. We'll have 5x plus y, because that's a positive y, minus 7 equals, and those will cancel out, -15. Okay, so now my x and y are on the same side. Third step is move all constants to the same side. Okay, well, the only constants that we have are, we have -7 and we have -15. Okay, so I'll even put these in like little boxes. So these are our two constants, and we want to move them all to the same side. And we want them to be on the side that does not have our x and y term, because that will be like our c term. Okay, so you want to get rid of this -7 by adding 7 to both sides. Okay, and that will leave us with 5x plus y on the left-hand side is equal to -15 plus 7 gives us a -8. Okay, fourth step would be to multiply to make a positive integer, but we already have a positive integer, namely +5, so we don't need to multiply by anything, and this is our final answer. Okay, and that's standard form, ax plus by equals c. All right, let's look at another example here. So step number 1 is distribute the slope. Okay, so we'll take our 5/3 and multiply it by both of the terms inside the parentheses. We end up with y plus 2 on the left-hand side is equal to 5/3 times x is 5/3 x, plus 5/3 times 6, so we have 5/3 times 6 over 1. We can simplify this. 6 and 3 both have a factor of 3, so that cancels out to be 1, that cancels out to be 2, and that equals 10 over 1, or 10. Okay, so that would be a plus 10. Okay, that's step number 1, we distribute the slope. Step number 2 is we move the x term to the y side. So we're going to subtract 5/3 x from both sides. Okay, and those will cancel out, and we'll end up with 10 on the left-hand side, and we'll have -5/3 x plus y plus 2 on the left-hand side there. Okay, step number 3, move all our constants to the same side. So I need to move my positive 2 over to the other side, so I'll subtract 2 on both sides. And those will cancel out, and we'll have negative 5/3 x plus y is equal to 8. All right, now this time I do need to use my fourth step of multiplying to make a positive integer. Okay, so I need to do two things here. I have a negative sign, so I need to multiply by something that would undo a negative, namely a negative. And I have a denominator of 3. Okay, so I'm dividing by 3. I'm taking negative 5/3 and dividing by 3. So I need to multiply the whole thing, okay, by a negative 3. Okay, I can write multiply right there. Okay, so when we do that, we'll end up with negative 3 times negative 5/3, and I'll even do this over here, negative 3 over 1 times negative 5/3. Okay, those 3's will actually cancel out and become 1, so this gives me, and those negatives will cancel, that just equals 5. Okay, so I'll end up with 5x, and then negative 3 times a positive y. Really, I'm just like distributing this. So that gives me negative 3y is equal to negative 3 times 8, which gives me negative 24. Okay, and now my a5 is a positive integer, so I know that I have my final answer. Okay, let's look at another example here. We have y plus 2 equals 7/8 times x minus 3. Step number 1, distribute the slope. So I will distribute my slope through, and I end up with y plus 2 is equal to 7/8 x minus, 7/8 times 3. So let's do that over here. 7/8 times 3 over 1. Okay, that's going to be equal to, well, I can't cancel anything out here, so I end up with 21 over 8. Okay, and I'll just leave that as an improper fraction. This will be 21 over 8. Okay, step number 2, move my x term over. So I will subtract negative 7/8 x on both sides. Okay, those will cancel out. I'll be left with negative 7/8 x plus y plus 2 is equal to negative 21/8. Okay. My next thing that I have to do then is move all my constants to one side. Okay, constants again are those numbers that we're not multiplying by a variable. So I'll subtract my 2 on both sides. Okay, and I'll be left with negative 7/8 x plus y is equal to, well, now I have to figure out what negative 21 over 8 minus 2 is. So let's do negative 21 over 8 minus 2. Okay, well, we need to have a common denominator if we're going to subtract. So this is going to be equal to negative 21 over 8. To get 2 over 1, we need into something with a denominator of 8. We need to multiply by 8. So this will be negative 21 over 8 minus 2 times 8 is 16 over 8. Okay, and then negative 21 minus 16 is going to be equal to, let's see, negative 37 over 8. Okay, so we don't do anything with the denominator, we just keep that the same. So this is equal to negative 37 over 8. All right, and then our fourth and final step is multiply to make a positive integer. Okay, well, I have a denominator of 8, so I need to multiply by 8, and I have a negative, so I'm actually going to multiply by negative 8 all the way through. So negative 8 times negative 7 over 8 just gives me a positive 7x. Minus 8y, because negative 8 times y is negative 8, is going to be equal to a, let's see, negative 37 over 8 times negative 8. Those 8's will cancel, and so will the negatives, so we'll get positive 37. And this is our answer in standard form. All right, one more example here. Step number 1, distribute the slope. Okay, I'll get y minus 3 is equal to negative 1/2 x. And then negative 1/2 times negative 8, that'll be a positive, and then half of 8 is 4, so I'll have a positive 4 there. Then we have step number 2, which will be to move my x term over. So I have to add 1/2 x to both sides to get rid of that. And then I end up with 1/2 x plus y minus 3 is equal to, those cancel. Now we have a positive 4 on that side. Third step, move my constants over. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Left with 1/2 x plus y is equal to 7. Okay, and then my fourth and final step is we need to make a positive integer. We have, it's already positive here, but it's 1/2. To get rid of that 2 on the bottom, we're going to multiply by 2, right? And then the 2's will cancel out. So we'll get 2 times 1/2. Well, 1/2 of 2 is just 1, and we don't really need that 1, so we're just left with x plus 2 times y is equal to 2 times 7, which is 14. And that's our final answer in standard form. All right, so now for our joke of the day. Where do football players go when they need a new uniform? They go to New Jersey. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.